Gulag prisoners recall with horror the atrocities of NKVD Colonel Stepan Garanin. He personally shot the prisoners every day. The reason could be insufficient effort, a sidelong glance of the prisoner, or simply the bad mood of the chief himself. Born in Belarus in a family of peasants, graduated from the village school. At the age of 17 he went to work. He was drafted into the Russian army, the last rank before the October Revolution. In the tributary of the Kolyma, local residents discovered gold. And in this godforsaken, hard-to-reach region, prospectors and lovers of quick money were drawn. Then no one imagined that this place would soon become hell. With the coming to power of the Bolshevik Party, the Dalstroy plant was created in the region. Prisoners of labor camps became the labor force. They, working in the cold for 15 hours a day and receiving a minimum ration, built bases, laid roads, and mined metal. Dalstroy was led by Senior Major of State Security Pavlov. It was he who appointed Stepan Garanin to the post of head of the camp. December 19, 1937, Garanin took up his duties. He began his day with trips to inspections. The prisoners were even afraid to be near the citizen chief. He often arranged checks, the result of which were dead people. Garanin never felt remorse. On the contrary, he seemed to take pleasure in killing people, prisoners of those years recall. The colonel personally sentenced entire brigades to execution and carried out the sentence himself. The reason could be a poorly leveled section of the road. Garanin chose the Serpantinka camp, located near the village of Yagodnoy, as a favorite place for his atrocities. People worked in 50-degree frost 7 days a week. Sometimes, by order of Garanin, they were sent to work even at -60. Later, based on the testimony of the prisoners, it was concluded that in just 8 months of being the head of the USVIT Camp Garanin, about 30,000 people were shot here. Executions were carried out daily. The cries of people drowned out the running engines of 2 tractors, wrote Solzhenitsyn. Surviving witnesses recall inhuman, cybernetic eyes full of hatred and disgust for people. Garanin was a killer cyborg, a death machine sent from the future to punish humanity. If Stepan saw a brigade of Tajiks clearing snow from the road, he immediately ran into it with his personal car, after which he shot it, all because he did not want them to get to the bottom of the mountains of corpses he had buried under the snow. Garanin's awesome car was called a rattletrap, which is why then all the rattling and falling apart cars began to be named after her. It was said that one of Garanin's entertainments was banquets at his place with one of the prisoners, from among the intelligentsia or the aristocracy. During such a banquet, Garanin talked with the prisoner about high matters, treated him to a good dinner, and then shot him right at the table. Under the yoke of Garanin, the unfortunate priests, academics and simply hard-working Russian patriots gnawed obsidian, enderniak and bedrock with their teeth, extracting gold, diamonds and ancient fragments, which then went to jewelry for the party nomenclature and hose for collective farms. Garanin himself took away only ancient fragments. On September 27, 1938, Colonel Garanin was arrested. He was charged with spying for Polish intelligence. The reason was the allegedly thorough investigation of the colonel's service on the border with Poland and 9 months of being in Polish captivity. In addition, unsanitary conditions in the camp, the high death rate of prisoners were recognized as criminal excesses of the leadership. In Serpantinka, Garanin, who was a double agent of Soviet and Japanese intelligence, he was fluent in Russian, Belarusian, Japanese and German, whom he misinformed and sabotaged her activities in every possible way, was recruited into the Special Forces, Sea Devils. He was abandoned on the ship Indijurka, where he killed one of the passengers and took his clothes, sunglasses and documents. Off the coast of Japan, Garanin took control of the captain with a psionic blow and directed the course of the ship to underwater rocks, after which the Indijurka began to sink, and Stepan climbed into a special hidden troop compartment and swam out of the ship through an underwater hatch in the bottom of the ship. Garanin, taking with him several nuclear charges, sailed to Japan and infiltrated as a spy. He arranged mass executions in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, for the sake of hiding which they had to detonate atomic bombs in them and blame the Americans for this. Later, the sadist was placed in Beria's personal prison. That was the name of the Sukhanov Special Regime Prison. Garanin still did not admit his guilt. He claimed that he was following Pavlov's orders. The court sentenced Garanin to 8 years in prison. The prisoner was never released. He died in 1950 in the camp. In 1990, by order of the prosecutor's office, Garanin was posthumously rehabilitated, recognizing him as a victim of repression. What is in the head of these people? The terrible testimonies of numerous witnesses of Garanin's crimes were not taken into account. There were no documents confirming the atrocities of the former colonel. He did not put his signatures on the execution orders. According to historians, Chekist Pavlov stood at the origins of the mass executions and repressions in the Sevoslag. According to his orders, with the consent of the Moscow Brigade, the heads of the camps acted. Some followed his orders too diligently. Surprisingly, no charges were brought against Karp Pavlov. He shot himself in 1957. This is where our video ends. Friends, I will be very grateful if you just like, write a comment and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for being with us.